So today I'm going to talk about a problem in the comic book world that has spread like wildfire, and I think a lot of people watching this video might agree with what I'm saying. And to be honest, not many people are talking about this, even though they're calling themselves comic book fans. But before I get into it, if you want to support the channel, you don't have to. You could jump over to my Patreon and it would be greatly appreciated. So this is a problem I've had for a very long time, and I've mentioned it in other videos, but I was just scrolling on TikTok for the smallest amount of time, and immediately I got recommended this video that I found kind of retarded. Basically, it's just a short TikTok from a small account. I'm not going to attack them or anything, but this video is saying that when you're reading The Long Halloween for the first time and the art style is a bit jarring and you're kind of put off by it. Now, I'm just going to say it flat out, I completely disagree with this take. I don't care if you just picked up The Long Halloween as your first comic. To be frank, having a problem with this iconic art style is simply just not acceptable. You can't do it in any other medium. You can't turn around and say, oh yeah, you know Star Wars and The Godfather and all those great movies from the 70s? Yeah, they're all kind of outdated and they suck. People would just laugh at you because although it's your opinion, films like The Godfather can't just be criticized by some idiot who doesn't know anything. And in my opinion, the same attitude should be applied over here. The Long Halloween, in my eyes, and a lot of other people's eyes, is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. One of the most perfect Batman stories anybody could read. A massive peak and high point for the character of Batman, highlighting the best parts about the character and the world, showing Batman as the true world's greatest detective, making Gotham into a creepy film noir art deco world that's constantly shrouded in mist and rain, and giving us some of my favorite designs for these characters. Say what you want about Tim Sale's artwork, that sometimes it can look a bit abstract and you can pull out certain panels that might not be perfect, but it's all a style and it's all consistent. It never changes. You know what you're getting when you read the comic, and 99% of the time what you are getting is a masterpiece. Some of the best art ever drawn for Batman was done by Tim Sale. And I wouldn't mind it if these people were humble and just said, yeah, well, I've never really read that much comics, so this is a bit jarring to me, but I'll have to get used to it because this is what comics are. The thing is, none of them are saying that. They read the brand new Spider-Man run, the brand new Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman, and then read compendiums of Invincible and The Boys, and then come up and say, yeah, Frank Miller Daredevil and Jeph Loeb Tim Sale Batman, I'm gonna laugh my ass off at it because I'm a retard. You don't get to look back and laugh at these comics and call them dated. You have no right whatsoever to do that. You might be watching this video going, yeah, it's just one TikTok about The Long Halloween from some beginner comic reader, but it's not that at all. It's actually 90% of the comic world right now. Invincible is on Amazon Prime and you have people hyping up the comic as if it means anything. Invincible the comic, sorry to break it to you, means nothing in the world of comic books. There's excellent 10 out of 10 comic runs in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and people are just saying, yeah, Invincible is like the holy grail. You might know some other examples of this happening. If you do, leave a comment down below, but I'm just going to highlight just a few that I know off the top of my head. One of the major ones is Wolverine. People say that they love Wolverine as a character. Oh man, Logan James Howlett is so awesome. I'm such a big fan of the comics. And then they'll turn around and say that Wolverine's first ongoing solo run, where he was in Madripoor as Patch, you know, that excellent run that was worked on by the likes of geniuses like Chris Claremont, John Buscema, Larry Hama, Mark Silvestri. They'll turn around randomly, they won't even read the comic and say, no, it looks goofy, he's wearing a white suit with an eye patch. And it's because we're living in a different time. The teenagers who are reading comics nowadays, to be honest, are kind of stupid. They don't pick up on the fact that Wolverine, Logan, that's his name, it's not James Howlett by the way, wearing a white suit is a direct reference to the iconic monolith of American cinema, Casablanca. They don't get that because they haven't seen Casablanca. They haven't even read the original comics. They've just watched the movies and the TV shows, read the brand new woke comics, and then pointed their finger and laughed at the old stuff that actually meant something. These people don't understand the fall of comic books in the 90s and 2000s, where you had these writers who were obsessed with being edgy, like Garth Ennis. Every single one of his comics has something repulsive or disgusting, just for shock factor, not for good writing or telling an intriguing story about superheroes. No, he just wants to show you the most disgusting, vile thing because it was the 2000s and the 90s, and comic book writers just didn't have talent. And I've read the entirety of The Walking Dead, and at the time I really did like it. And I read the first compendium of Invincible, which I didn't like so much. But now people are looking back at Robert Kirkman as if he's some revolutionary writer. I highly respect the guy for what he did on G.I. Joe and Transformers with the brand new Skybound thing, which I will probably be making a video on how Transformers went woke and how good it was originally. But anyways, Robert Kirkman, not a terrible writer, but nowadays people are hyping him up like he's Frank Miller. The dude has said it many times in interviews that how he writes is every single 6 or 5 issues he'll insert something that is like a cliffhanger that keeps you reading. Now this isn't exactly innovative or talented writing and storytelling. It's just shocking people every 4 issues with some edgy crap to keep them reading. And in a comic like The Walking Dead, it might work because it's some black and white normal comic that isn't about superheroes and it plays out like a TV show. But Invincible is basically Superman meets Spider-Man, but also it's trying to be edgy, being extremely gory and inserting shock factor every chance it gets. So what I'm trying to say about Robert Kirkman and Invincible and all those comics is that people will read 4 omnibuses straight of Invincible and not realize that the whole thing is built on the back of keeping people intrigued with edgy schlock. The writing isn't good and the art definitely isn't good on Invincible, no matter what people say. And these are people who go back and read stuff that's revolutionary and laugh at it, like The Long Halloween. I went into the comments of that original TikTok video and I saw like 2 or 3 comments of people saying that, yeah, they should go back to year 1 and The Long Halloween and just redraw them or use AI or something to like keep it up to date. I can't get over how retarded that is. You want to destroy revolutionary works from pioneers in the medium with AI and you want to go back and redraw them because you don't like the look of it. Have these people ever considered that maybe you're just not a comic book fan? If you can't accept that the original comics from the 60s, 70s, 80s laid down the basis for everything we know today, if you don't want to respect that, then you shouldn't be called a comic book fan. And you can call this elitism or gatekeeping. Really, I don't care. You're clearly more suited to watch your brand new Marvel slop on the silver screen instead of going back and reading the actual real comic books, which most likely will turn out to be a work of art. Christopher Nolan took so much from The Long Halloween. He respected it. Robert Rodriguez brought Frank Miller into Hollywood for Sin City and they made a majorly successful movie because he respected the comics. It's just common sense. Every single time somebody respects the original writer, artist and source material, we usually get a masterpiece. And if you choose to just ignore that, then you're not a comic book fan. Go screw yourself. So if you made sense out of anything I just said, then do let me know. And if you disagreed, go complain to your boyfriend.